Focus from our correspondents in China today. Now, until the end of last year, petty crimes, drug addiction, prostitution and political activism could be punished with up to 4 years forced labour without any trial. Detainees would work more than 12 hours a day. Some reported that they were tortured. In November, Beijing announced it was closing its labour camps. The so-called re-education centres that replaced them still sometimes used forced labour. We're asking what's really changed in China. This report from Shannon Van Sant and Baptiste Fellevos in Beijing.
This is a gloomy place, and it's the first time Shen Yongmei has returned. 6 months ago, she was detained behind these walls at the Women's Labor Camp number 2 in the Shanghai suburbs.
I used to sleep and work in the building over there. I made ballpoint pens for the brand Cheng Wang. Then they detained me in a room for 133 days, all because I didn't want to work.
After protesting for human rights, Shen Yongmei was sentenced to labor camp for 18 months in 2012. But she was released before the end of her term last September. Beijing has decided to shut down one of its most repressive tools for punishment. But police still patrol the area, and our camera is not welcome.
Can I not film here?
No, you can't. You need a license to film interviews. Were you filming here a few minutes ago?
But it's not the labor camp anymore?
You're not allowed to be here. Where are you from?
The name of the camp has changed. It's now called the Women's Isolation and Rehabilitation Center.
They keep the drug addicts there to produce the same things I used to make. They are detained against their will and persecuted.
So the new laws do not free the drug addicts, who were already the majority of detainees. Prostitutes have been transferred to other facilities, like this custody and education center in Beijing. There are many such centers in China. Li Mei, who wants to stay anonymous, served several months in one. She used to work 7 to 8 hours per day.
Under a militarized management, they told us exactly what to do. We were forbidden to move. At the beginning, my legs would shake from standing for too long. We were also forced to buy clothes, toiletries, and food inside the camp and pay for any living expenses.
Those re-education centers might soon fill up. Beijing has launched a vast campaign against prostitution, with more than 1,000 people arrested. Shen Tingting helps the most vulnerable sex workers, and she's worried about their future. According to her, re-education centers are the same as labor camps. You can be sent there without trial after a single administrative decision.
It is the police that control the whole system and make all the decisions. And the right to appeal, right to hearing, and right to a due process is restricted.
Shen Yongmei is ready to leave Shanghai for Beijing. She belongs to another group of detainees, petitioners, who regularly go to the capital to protest against abuse of power in their hometowns. The labor camp was the perfect way to silence those activists, but Shen is not optimistic about their shutdown.
They will replace this system with something like black jails, or something else we cannot predict.
Those black jails are used to lock up, sometimes for weeks, the most vocal petitioners. They are disguised as study or relief centers like this place in Beijing where we went last year.
We're a shelter for petitioners who come to Beijing. Here we give them food and drinks.
The Communist Party now wants to strictly enforce rule of law, but it still has many extrajudicial measures, just like the labor camps of the past, with police custody being by far the most efficient means of maintaining China's cherished social stability.
Well, it's time now for us to get a check on all the latest sport news, starting with the